Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK Thailand webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with Abertay University. Today we have Emma and Finn with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the Zoom chat box. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. And my colleague Nikki from Thailand team will be giving you a introduction in Thai language now. Over to you, Nikki.
ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะน้องทุกคนนะคะวันนี้นะคะพี่จาก SIUK นะคะเราจะมีสัมมนานะคะจากAbertay University นะคะในตอนนี้เลยนะคะสำหรับน้องๆคนไหนนะคะที่เข้ามาแล้วนะคะพี่รบกวนปิดไมค์นะคะแล้วก็ปิดวิดีโอนะคะเพราะว่าเราจะมีการสตรีมนะคะใน YouTube นะคะสำหรับน้องๆคนไหนที่ระหว่างการฟังมีคำถามอะไรนะคะก็สามารถพิมพ์คำถามมาไว้ตรงช่องแชทบอกได้เลยค่ะพอจบสัมมนาแล้วเราจะมีช่วง Q&A ให้น้องๆได้ถามกันนะคะแล้วก็พี่รบกวนน้องๆกรอกเลข ID 6-7 หลักผ่านทางช่องแชทบอกมาให้พี่ด้วยนะคะขอบคุณค่ะโอเค shall we start the seminar now thank you
Thanks very much, Nikki, and thanks, Deepika. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on Abertay's postgraduate technology programs. My name's Emma. I'm part of the international team at Abertay, and I'm joined by my colleague Finn as well. I'll let her introduce herself in a moment. So today we're going to give you a bit of an introduction to Abertay as a university and studying on our postgraduate technology-focused programs. So we'll talk in a bit of detail about our School of Design and Informatics, which houses all of those programs, the master's courses that we offer in that area, and some general information about the university, about Dundee, which is the city we're based in, and Scotland. So I'll pass over to Finn to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having us. My name is Finn. I'm also part of the international team here at Abertay University. So let's get started. Wanted to talk to you firstly about a brief introduction to Abertay. So to start off with, we are a small and friendly university in Dundee in Scotland, and that's in the UK. We are renowned for our courses in computer games programming, design and arts, as well as our specialist courses around cybersecurity. We started the world's first ethical hacking degree, taking an offensive approach to cybersecurity. And this has been ranked #1 in Europe. And we have been ranked #1 in Europe for video games education for the last 7 years running. This has put us among the top institutions around the world for studying programming, design and arts for computer games. In the UK, we were awarded the University of the Year for teaching quality, and we're also in the UK top 10 and Scotland top 3 for student satisfaction.
So to give you a bit of an introduction to kind of technology in general at Abertay, we have a very sort of vocational and practical approach to computing and to our courses focused around those areas. So our degrees are really aimed at the current job market. We want to make sure that we're giving students real life background knowledge, so looking at case studies and real life examples, as well as job related skills. So doing a lot of practical work, focusing on working as a team and making sure our students from either undergraduate or postgraduate degree are then ready to go and work in a related industry. Recruit academic staff from industry. So lots of our staff have perhaps studied, gone and worked in industry and returned to education and academia. Some of our staff, particularly in the games industry, are still working as well. They might have freelance jobs where they're working around, as a computer artist, as a game designer, alongside teaching at the university, and this helps to make sure we provide up-to-date knowledge from the work environment, and our academics will be involved in some really cutting-edge research topics. Our classes are very hands-on, practically focused, as mentioned, so the theoretical element is also covered in your lectures, but the vast majority of assessments and your kind of learning are based on doing something practical, so the skills that you develop are the right ones to then start working in that area. Our courses, I think we describe them as more specialist and applied programs. So they are I guess, more niche in terms of the focus area that they have on. And we really focus on that interaction with industry to make sure, as I say, students are industry ready. And Finn will talk a bit more about that later, about our interaction with industry. We have some fantastic facilities on campus. We have open plan studios that really support interdisciplinary study. So students, even at the master's level on a really specialised course, maybe working alongside students from other courses, or even supporting with undergraduate projects as well, where they can be leading on the project and kind of, I guess, supporting or almost managing or supervising a team of undergraduate students. So we do make sure that you get that experience both within the students that you're studying with on your course and also with others from around the university. And as I mentioned, our School of Design and Informatics is where all of these courses are housed, and we have 3 focus areas here. These are cybersecurity and computing, games, technology and maths, and games, art and design. So we've been a centre of excellence for games education for quite a while, and more recently we were awarded Academic Centre of Excellence status by the National Centre for Cybersecurity at the gold standard level, which is something that very few UK institutions offer, and really goes to show how well renowned the courses at Abertay are. So the first of those focus areas gives our degree programmes in ethical hacking and cybersecurity. And as Finn mentioned, we offer the world's first ethical hacking degree programme, launched around 15 years ago. And the facilities on campus for these students in this area, we have the Net Lab and the Hack Lab facilities, which are designed to enable combined lecturing and laboratory-based practical work, supporting the development of technical skills. And these labs specifically have an isolated reconfigurable network and a dedicated internet connection. So this means our students can experiment with all aspects of ethical hacking, because as you can imagine, having the word hacking in the degree programme means you are going to learn some of that, and how you can do that in a safe, controlled environment, essentially, without bringing down the university network. And there's a variety of different kind of career options for students coming from these areas, going into programming specifically, networking, web development type roles. But those particularly within hacking and cybersecurity programs may look at things more like penetration testing, security analysis, policy around information security. There's a real wide range of jobs under that area. So on that slide, you can also see our full list of undergraduate and postgraduate courses that we offer. So as I mentioned, we've got our programs around game art and design and games programming and technology. And then at the postgraduate level, you'll also see in there, we've got our MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience. This is actually one of our newer courses, and it combines principles from AI and also psychology. And again, we're going to speak in a bit more detail later on about each of those postgraduate programs. Over to you, Finn.
Awesome. I was just unmuting then. I completely forgot I was on mute. Perfect. So yes, absolutely. As Emma mentioned, I'm going to talk a little bit about the industry collaboration that we have here at Abertay. And this is the sole reason why our students have such a impressive level of experience when they graduate. And this is all because of what we put in place during the students' learning journey at Abertay. So first of all, we have a number of local and national industry partners that we work with year round. Now, whether that's our students visiting them at their offices and sites in the UK, or those industry partners coming to our campus and teaching and working with our students. So basically where we are. This gives students valuable opportunities for learning and growing, and enables them to become job-ready graduates. And we do this in a number of ways. So firstly, what we focus on is making sure that there's some real-time, real project briefs that students can work on. Ultimately, this enables students to think on their feet, to problem solve, to put that academia and theory to the test and get hands-on experience working on real-time problems within the field of interest, whether that's working to a new computer game brief, whether that's working to develop higher cybersecurity for a specific business type, or whether it's to combat a new cyber cybersecurity risk of the future. So looking at quite advanced technology. We have some fascinating partnerships which are with companies like Sony, Microsoft and Amazon, along with the smaller and quirkier individual companies that we have close and a little bit further away from campus as well. So we work with them and their technology to improve the student experience and to expose students to practical skills. This also ensures that the technology and kit, I suppose, on campus is up to date. And so students have access to the most relevant software and the latest cutting edge technology while you are studying at Abertay. Across the courses, there are multiple opportunities which I mentioned to work on these different projects, and these will be multidisciplinary and team-based. So you're often working towards project briefs set by our industry contacts and partners, and giving students direct engagement with companies. And it's a fantastic way to network and get your interests out there and hopefully make some great industry relationships so that you can potentially look at them as a future employer. So Dundee itself is a very dynamic city, and we have a lot of new companies opening up and a huge amount of investment in the city that will greatly benefit our students studying these fields. And I'll talk more on these shortly. So in every corner of the world, you will find an Abertay graduate in a tech company, potentially a games company or a hacking or cybersecurity company. And we get great feedback from our companies about how quickly our graduates learn and develop.
So to give you a bit of an overview of, as I mentioned, our postgraduate tech courses, as we're focusing on these in today's session, we will go into each course in more detail, but just to give you an overview, we've got those 4 different programs: the MSc Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience, the MSc Computer Games Technology, the MSc Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity, and our Professional Masters in Games Development. So we have students from a range of backgrounds coming into these programs, whether they're coming from a more computing or programming focused degree for certain courses, the Games Development Masters being slightly more open. And all of these programs are 1-year full-time study on campus. Now, we do have potentially the options of doing these 2 years part-time as distance learning, so you wouldn't need to come to Abertay at all during that time. And it just means you'll be studying online and having quite, I guess, a different experience. But if you wanted to be working alongside studying, that's how those programs were designed. So for that flexibility where you can do all your learning online, you can fit it around working full time. For the majority of these programs, we just offer a September start, so the typical academic year in the UK here. But for the Professional Masters in Games Development, we actually have 2 entry points there in September and in January. But that course is only offered as full-time on campus, and part of that is because of the strong nature of collaboration that is taught across that program. But now we'll give you kind of more detail on each program individually.
So exactly as Emma mentioned, our Masters of Applied Artificial Intelligence and User Experience is brand new for September 2022. So this is one of our latest Masters to join our suite of what we offer. And this comes from a number of different reasons as to why we have sort of brought this on and launched this, and I'll go into those just now. So we are the first UK university to offer a master's degree bringing together AI, user experience research, and applied psychology. So as well as gaining a thorough understanding of data and AI analytics and techniques, students will explore the theoretical concept with practical applications. So I chose to add in one of the quotes from the web pages here because I think it sums it up really, really well. So using data and AI to acquire deeper insights into human behavior and psychology, you'll also focus on the ethical responsibilities of developing AI applications. This course has a practical focus and features projects and group work as well as work placements where possible. So part of the reason for including psychology into a very highly technical and advanced master's like this is so that we can better understand human behavior and natural AI choices and decisions that are made from an AI basis that can most closely replicate a human decision. So really understanding how humans behave and various different quite natural choices for us and how that can be implemented into AI AI and into user experience. So this is a really advanced master's and certainly a very interesting one. Some of the modules and areas that you will focus on are applied psychology and AI principles. You will learn to enrich the data of AI solutions through good practice of user experience and using data, AI, and applied psychology to inform the design of prototypes. So this will not just be an academic theoretical study. You will be actively working on designing prototypes, testing those out, and understanding them at a deeper level. The topics include, as we can quite rightly assume as well as confirm, data science, user experience, machine learning and AI, human psychology and applied analytics. So this is one that is a very advanced master's and one that is really, really interesting and already proving very popular, which is already great to hear. So I'll pop on to the next one. Great. So I'm also going to talk to you about our Masters in Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity. So we already offer these both individually at undergraduate level, and at master's level, they combine to offer a real strength in ethical hacking and cybersecurity industry understanding. So just to let you know, we are fully this degree, is fully certified by the National Cybersecurity Centre. So it's called the NCSC, and it's part of GCHQ, which is a very well-known area of cybersecurity in the UK. This master's degree develops the skills and mindset needed to tackle the growing threat of computer hackers. And ultimately, this master's will put you in the ideal position to pursue a successful and often lucrative career. The industry is currently experiencing a major skills gap and global demand for ethical hackers. For anybody who understands hacking and who has probably studied it at undergraduate level, you will already have been told about the multi-billion-pound demand on cybersecurity. Whilst more and more things go online, more and more things are automated and virtual and basically on a system online on the internet, it presents more and more opportunity for hackers to gain access illegally. And so this ethical reason is why we teach our students how to mitigate these instances and how to think ahead and really crack that opportunity and mitigate any kind of attacks like that. So again, I've included another quote because I think it sums it up perfectly. So this is aimed at computing and IT graduates. Our MSc Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity covers a wide range of subjects, including penetration testing, digital forensics, information security management, malware analysis, port scanning, buffer overflows, and password cracking. Our research active teaching staff are at the forefront of new developments, allowing the program to evolve and cover the latest techniques and guidelines. Now, there was a lot of big words in there and a lot of very precise terms as well. So I'm sure you understand loads about this area, especially if you're from a background that's interested in this. So we're currently the only university in the UK to offer a master's program in ethical hacking, and this has put us within a very lucrative competition worldwide. So we're known across the world for what we offer at master's level in this area. And we want to change the way that you view cybersecurity and adopt an offensive approach. And the best way to beat a hacker is to be able to think like one. So you will have an element of psychology in this as well, being able to understand a hacker's motivations and what they want out of it and why they're going about the malicious attacks to better inform your decisions on combating this issue. So topics include computer security, digital forensics, information and network security management, ethical hacking, and engineering resilient systems. And I'll hand you back to Emma.
Thanks, Finn. So I'm going to talk a bit more about the programs we have at postgraduate level, focusing on the games industry and games-related studies. So our first one is our Masters in Computer Games Technology. And similarly to the Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity Masters, this is really aimed at students who don't have a background in games, but do have computing or an IT-related undergraduate degree. So it's designed to help hone your skills in programming, coding, anything in that area, software development, towards games programming and the games industry in particular. So this is, a really, really popular subject area. something that we excel at, and also one that is, again, a very lucrative industry, a very, very high value industry to go into games. And as mentioned, our games courses, or we're very well known for video games education, are the best in the world outside of the US, and that's according to the Princeton Review, which is based in the US as well. So that puts us alongside some of, as I say, the top universities and colleges in the world, and particularly in the US, that teach around video games education. So this really supports our students to go into working in the games industry by, as I say, developing those skills specific to games, but also supporting students to understand the games industry as an industry to join, how it might differ from working in other areas of tech. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we have that focus on multidisciplinary project, and students on this course in particular do some project work with some of the younger students, or I'd say typically younger students, but with the undergraduate students who are studying around the fields of games as well. So gives students the opportunity to take that kind of more leadership role within a team, working together on a project brief or something like that. So the focus on these real team projects and working alongside and liaising with an industry contact. As Finn mentioned earlier, we work with some huge companies like Sony and like Microsoft, and also, companies across the UK that you might think are slightly less related to games, like the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK. Our students have worked on projects and games around that. So it's not just your typical, how do I make a car racing game or a shoot 'em up game or something like that. A lot of our students will work on some really interesting projects that might be to do with the gamification of something specific to that company. And I'll talk a little later. I've got a very specific example from some of our students, something that they've worked on. So if you are interested in the games industry, and again, it offers those opportunities to be working remotely. It's not just you need to be in a particular location, but coming to Dundee to study this, you'll have access to some of the local independent studios and some of the larger studios. If you're at all into gaming, you'll probably be aware of Rockstar and Rockstar North, who are based here in Scotland. Lots of our students go on to work there, and some of the other big AAA companies as well. But even if you're, as I say, working or wanting to study remotely or work remotely, there's so many options for that these days. And this course will give you the skills to understand how to program a game and the design process and the creation process of a game, but also help you to understand that industry in particular. So one of the areas that we do focus on in our master's programs is giving students the right skills to work in the industry in terms of those softer skills. So things like teamwork, working together, the expectations that there might be to work in these industries, and our facilities replicate what we do in industry as well. So that collaborative workspace is something that's really key for us and something that we focus on. So this program in particular is designed around 5 key themes. So as you'd expect, things like games production and design and games programming are absolutely key in terms of translation of those computing skills. The professional knowledge, as I mentioned, that's understanding the industry itself and where to position yourself, how to work in the industry, and what the expectations will be on you. And then also some programming specialism and research, of course, as well. As a postgraduate degree program, and all of our degree programs at that level, we do expect some level of research, and I guess it's having a strong interest in something specific within that area. And many of our students have gone on, as I said, to work for some of the big AAA companies, places like Ubisoft, Sony, EA Games, and Rockstar North, as I mentioned. But we have a lot of students who want to go and set up their own companies, and this is something that we've had a lot of success in. We have companies that started off very, very small. I mean, we've been teaching computer games degrees since 1997, so 25 years now, if I'm correct in that. And, some of these studios have grown exponentially. Some of them are based in Dundee now. We have some who sponsor final year scholarships for our students. They've been really, really successful. So we also have that support on campus to help students to understand how they might go about setting up a company and, actually everything that they need to do with that. And if you were going to come and study at Abertay and were interested in that kind of thing, or were working together on a team project that you wanted to continue taking forward into the future, you've also got that graduate visa opportunity to support yourself to do that kind of thing. And the other course we have around the games area is our professional masters in games development. So this course is, I'd say, is a much broader and open course compared to the computer games technology program in terms of what we need from students before they start. But we do look for a portfolio of evidence as part of the application for this program. So we are looking for students to have some kind of experience in one of the kind of key games roles. So whether that's within the art, design, coding, sound and audio, or production areas of that. The only area that we don't really focus on is things like QA, so quality assurance, or kind of the business side of games. So they are still practical roles that are involved in the development of a game, but we have students who come across all those disciplines. And each year when we are selecting our students, we make sure we have students from a range of those areas, again, because of the real focus on these team-based projects. So this program, I guess, is different in that to the Masters in Computer Games Technology, in that we don't look for students with no experience of games. They need to have some kind of portfolio to showcase something that they can evidence as supporting their application. And in this program, it's kind of laid out in 3 semesters, the same as all of our master's programs. And in each semester, there's a different sort of size project that you're working. So again, to give our students the opportunity to get those professional skills and understand working in the games industry, but to get a range of experience, we have these different size teams. So you might be doing one project where you're just working in a team of 3 or 4, and that's kind of the experience of how you might get into working in an independent game studio. You might have another project where you're working in a team of, say, 7 or 8 people, maybe up to 10 people, and that's, I guess, maybe more of a mid-sized project. And then typically there'll be a larger project, and I've seen teams of, say, 15 to 20 students working on these kinds of things. So you get 3 very different experiences in terms of what you're working on, and it is that understanding of the industry in particular. So perhaps even more so than the previous course, we do focus on students learning how to create and nurture those relationships with fellow developers and with industry professionals and companies. And again, these projects are typically linked to certain companies, and students will liaise directly with those companies throughout that. So really, this Games Development Masters supports students to develop their core skills through all of this applied project work, supported by experienced practitioners within the games industry, and make sure that in addition to the practical games development skills, you're also enhancing skills in interdisciplinary communication and collaboration through all of this teamwork, because it's a really important part of the industry that you're a great games programmer or computer games artist, but you also need to be able to work together and understand how that industry works. So that's an overview of all 4 of those taught postgraduate courses. I'll pass back to Finn now to talk a little bit on our postgraduate research opportunities as well.
Oh, sorry, my mute button wasn't responding there, sorry. So obviously we have a number of masters at the taught aspect, which we have run through. But if there is a postgraduate opportunity that you're looking for that is in the research sphere, then this is really what's going to reach out to you. So we have a number of research-based masters, whether that's a master's by research, an MRes, and a master's of philosophy, or a postdoctoral research degree, a PhD. So we have a number of different research topics to choose from, and these are reflected based on the undergraduate and postgraduate topics that we do offer. So there may be a couple of gaming related or AI related research topics. However, I would encourage you to have a look through the subjects on our website and really have a look at what you're interested in. Our master's by research is 1 year full-time. Masters of Philosophy is 2 years full-time, and the PhD is 3 years full-time. You can do any of these part-time, and these will double in length. That would depend on your application and your personal circumstances and the supervisor as well. It's best that you discuss your intentions with the supervisor so that you can best set out the course of your research postgraduate degree. The graduate school has a number of unique offerings for our research postgraduate students. First of all, there is dedicated space, so you do not have to study or focus on anything with loads going on behind you or a busy undergraduate class walking past. You're in a dedicated space on campus, and this allows you to integrate and sort of soak up the best that you can from various different areas of expertise that we offer, from our supervisors to our high-tech facilities and our specialist equipment and laboratories. So these are all dedicated for our research students. There is a short course that you're offered and teaching opportunities. So this would be in beginning to teach in higher education. Many postgraduate research masters will come with potentially a semester of teaching involved. This will help you to become a lecturer if you wanted to, and also to gain research. So you can use our students as research if they obviously volunteer and ultimately accept the offer too. So on top of your dedicated postgraduate study space, there are very specific and exclusive placement opportunities in industry, charities and government for our research students. And also, I've already mentioned our access to discipline-specific advanced and specialist facilities. Also, our expert and specialist supervisors. So the supervisors that work with our research students are the lecturers and experts that teach our undergraduate and postgraduate courses as well. So you are getting the best of the best. You're getting the latest research and technology access, and basically hand-on teaching and guidance for our students from those supervisors. And those supervisors are actively undertaking their own research. They're actively involved in industry projects as well. So depending on the area of interest for you, there's a lot of different experience and expertise for you to gain while studying at Abertay. We also offer further funding application support and research exposure in industry. And just to add to this, I suppose what is really interesting about our Masters by Research is that if it's in one of the areas that we offer specific speciality in, there's a huge amount of exposure in terms of your publications, in terms of the journals that you could be featured in, and ultimately in securing a job afterwards, whether that is in a research field, whether that is in a teaching field, or in a hands-on application role within a various industry that you're interested in. So in terms of what we offer, there's a huge amount there, and I really would recommend having a little look through our course offering. It's on our website, very easy to get to. We can pop the link in afterwards if you are interested, and I will hand back to Emma.
Thanks, Finn. So to run through the entry requirements for these programmes and keeping these quite general, we'll put our contact details up at the end. So if you want to check your specific qualifications, just drop myself or Finn an email and we can double check these for a specific course that you want to apply for. But in general, we will look for a good bachelor degree in a relevant discipline for all of our postgraduate programmes. As mentioned, the MSc Computer Games Technology and the MSc Ethical Hacking and Cybersecurity programs will both require a degree related to computing or IT. The Games Development Professional Masters, we look for something that's relevant to, as I mentioned, one of those 5 key roles, so around game art, design, coding, /programming, production and sound and audio, and the portfolio of evidence that comes along for that specific course. And then the Artificial Intelligence and User Experience program, we actually have a more open entry requirement there. So we look for a scientific or technical type course to enter into that program. So it doesn't have to be computing, it can be another area. The only extra thing we ask for there is some experience of scripting. So if you are coming from, let's say, more life sciences type program like biology, but you're interested in this, then you need to look kind of online or get in touch with us, and we can make some recommendations to you about how to get some experience in scripting and to evidence that within your application. And for the postgraduate research areas that Finn's just been talking about, again, we look for a minimum of a good bachelor's, if not a taught master's degree in a relevant discipline as well. So you'll also need to put together a research proposal. So you'll need to have an idea of, I've got this particular topic that I want to research, and that will help us to support you with identifying a relevant supervisor and all of those kinds of things. So generally, as I say, we are looking for a relevant bachelor's degree. So if you are studying something that's quite different, like business or economics or an art subject, then it may not be suitable for entry onto those particular programs. For English language, our minimum requirement is an IELTS overall score of 6 with no band lower than 5.5, and that is for our postgraduate taught programs. For the research level, we are looking slightly higher for an overall score of 6.5. And we do accept a range of English language qualifications, so it doesn't have to be IELTS. If you're taking TOEFL or Cambridge exams, we accept a whole range of those, so you can have a look at those on our website and to give you the full range. Tuition fees, to make you aware of those as well, for all of our taught masters programs is £17,000. For the postgraduate research, there's a range of amount for that, but typically if you're looking in the areas of computing, games and cybersecurity, it's £14,750 per year. We do require a 50% deposit of 1 year of fees, so that's the full fee for the master's course, or 1 year of fees for the postgraduate research, before we issue your CAS, which is what you need for your visa. So at the taught masters level, that would be £8,500 due as a deposit. And the remainder of the fees after the deduction of any scholarship is due at registration before the start of the academic year. So as I mentioned, that's usually in September, but it may be in January if you're looking at our course that starts in January. We do offer a scholarship. We have the International Postgraduate Abertay Scholarship, which is £3,000, and it's open to all prospective new international taught postgraduate students. So the 4 programs that we went into more detail on would be eligible for that kind of funding. You don't need to apply separately for this. It's something that we award automatically, and it's awarded to the majority of students unless they're coming through specific pathways or they're receiving another scholarship or other kind of sponsorship, sometimes with a clash. So check with us if you're not sure on that. But as I mentioned, you don't have to apply separately for this. You'll typically be awarded the scholarship or have confirmation of that after you've received an offer to study if your application is successful. The SOLTAR scholarship is only available to students from certain countries, so from India, China, Hong Kong, Japan, Canada, US and Pakistan, and that is in, again, certain subject areas, but all of our subject areas cover that. So it's not open to Thai nationals, but if you happen to be from one of those other countries, then you may want to look into that. And then the Achieving Scholarship is open to students worldwide, and that generally sort of goes towards postgraduate research degrees. But have a look at that. It does require you to have 2 years of relevant work experience. So if you're looking at joining a master's straight from university, you probably won't be eligible for that. But if you've had a gap and you're returning to education and you've been working in a relevant field, then that will usually be open again. A separate application is required for that, and it goes through Achieving. It doesn't come to us as a university. But all worth having a look into. And as Finn mentioned, we do offer support for sort of future funding for the postgraduate research programs, and we encourage students to have a look at that funding opportunities before they start in the first year as well. Now we're going to talk to you a bit about Abertay and Dundee, so I'll pass back to Finn.
Thank you. So this is just some pictures of our beautiful campus. And to give you a bit of an idea of who Abertay are as a university, just wanted to summarise at the end of this really. So we're one of the smallest universities in Scotland. And this is a very big thing for us. Because we can offer a more intimate and community feel on campus. This means that you have smaller class sizes, tutorials and group projects. Lecturers know your name and it's easy to meet with them for support. And also we get a lot of feedback from our international students that they find it a lot easier to integrate and settle and make some friends. So it's less daunting than going into a class of 300. You'll be going into a class of potentially 50 or 60 people. At postgraduate level, this could be even smaller at the likes of 30 or even 20 people, depending on the specialism that you're going into. We're based on a street called Bell Street. It's quite famous in Dundee. It's very well known. We don't actually have a street number. We are just on Bell Street because we're very prominent. And if you were to stand in the middle, just on the picture where this lady is standing, and if you did a 360-degree turn, you would see all of the buildings of our campus. Now, as you can see, these buildings are huge, but they're all very, very central. They're very easy to get around. It's very secure. It's pedestrian areas. And yeah, it's always good to know that it's easy to get from class to class. The middle picture is our wonderful library, our St Bernard King Library. It recently underwent a £4 million upgrade about 3 years ago. And it is 4 stories of beautiful study space, collaborative workspace, group study space, solo study, research study, quiet space, also with a cafe and our student support services on the ground floor. We have Amazon lockers, we have microwaves and hot water taps. So you can move in while you study. You can just get yourself settled. It's a very friendly, warm place, and our students love it. I also studied at Abertay at undergraduate and postgraduate level. And I tell you what, the library is your best friend while you're here. The photo on the right is our student centre, and this currently doesn't look like this. Currently, it is covered in scaffolding and a huge amount of construction that's going on. And I will talk about that in just a few slides. I don't want to give away too much just yet. As the international team here, part of what myself and Emma do, and actually the main thing that what we do is support students. The main purpose for us is to support you in joining Abertay. Now, whether that is through information, through asking questions, through assessing transcripts or going over grades, recommending further study or additional requirements that you need, anything that we can do from that sort of initial question answering, obviously that's what we're here for as our SI UK, our wonderful partners. But we also offer a number of different communication channels. So you don't just have to email us. There are a number of different ways to get in contact. We have our Instagram channel, which is set up for our international students. This is complementary to the main Abertay Instagram channel that our internal teams run. We run the Instagram for Abertay Goes Global. We have a Facebook group that's set up for all international applicants. Usually it's set up around about now, actually, where we invite all of our applicants to join. And it's a great way to meet friends before you even leave your home, which is good. We also set up a newsletter, and we have a WhatsApp group directly for our applicants and also for asking questions to our team. So we try to make ourselves as reachable as possible. And also, obviously, the SI UK team will be in full support of you as well. Excuse me one moment. So, as I mentioned, we are a small university, and the current year, our total student number is 4,501. I don't know who that one student is, but they are very lucky to be so prominent in the number that we give out. So as I mentioned, we are one of the smallest universities, but we see this as a great benefit. Our female to male ratio is 48% to 52%. So that's actually very good. We're quite pleased with that. And we have just about 25% of our international students represented on university campus, and 77% are home students. So we do find that this is represented really well. And because we are so small, it is quite nice to see quite a diverse and multicultural student body on campus. Currently, nationality is represented at 55. And this changes each year, as does the current student numbers. So obviously these will change, but just to give you an idea of how many countries are represented on campus. This is also represented in our faculty and our support teams. So not only do we have a very cultural and diverse student body, we also have this reflected in our faculty. So you will be getting taught by lecturers from all across the world with an incredible amount of experience and background. And a huge amount of warmth and welcoming to give to our students. So yeah, there's always someone to speak to about sort of everything that's going on. And we're also a very welcoming place for all people of all cultures and backgrounds. And again, we're very pleased with this. Just to let you know, Scotland has the highest percentage of international and EU students in the UK. So we are very open-armed and welcoming to any student from around the world. I'll just pop on to the next one. Perfect. So to talk about Dundee, I know we haven't really focused on Dundee a huge amount, but as this was a postgraduate chat and I'm aware of the time, I'm going to try and race through this really quickly. So Dundee, much like Abertay, we're compact, we're creative, and we're cultured. Both Emma and myself adore Dundee. We're both not from Dundee, and I think that speaks volumes in just how much we love it. So we are a high-tech hub of Scotland's booming games industry. So when we mentioned earlier that a number of companies were setting up here and have done already in the last 5 to 10 years, that is very much in the games industry. So we're really proud to be a little gaming hub of the UK as well. Dundee is the UK's first UNESCO City of Design, and that is thanks in part due to the huge museum that you see in front of you. On the left-hand side is the V&A Museum, and on the right is our RRS Discovery, which is housed permanently here on the River Tay. We have been named the most affordable and best city to live in the UK, and also the second most fun city to be a student in the UK. So we're competing with some pretty big cities here, and a huge amount of students voted for this, and we're incredibly proud for that. We're also very close to the mountains, to the sea, to the rivers and the hills as well, and complete with dolphins, which both Emma and myself have seen, which is always really fun. And the beach is right on your doorstep. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a body of water in the forefront of the picture. But just behind that, on the border between the boats and the museum, that's the River Tay. And this is what we are situated on the estuary of. So there's a huge amount of nature nearby. If you like getting outdoors, this is the place to be. We also have a number of projects and partnerships that Abertay are working on and are actively involved in at the moment. So I wanted to sort of give a little bit of attention to these and share some exciting news around, really. So this image, in terms of the V&A Museum of Design in Dundee, was the venue of Abertay's Digital Graduate Show in 2021. So it housed our amazing Digital Graduate Show, and there have been several other new partnerships that we've been involved in. So we have the Dundee Cyber Quarter, which is set to launch in just a few months. And this is what is being housed in our student centre. So the reason why there's loads of construction and a lot of, I would say, temporary mess just in front of that building is because it is currently being completely overhauled to house the UK's Cyber Quarter. So we're very, very pleased to have this on our campus. It was a massive accolade to win and also be recognised for. So it will be the perfect platform and space for tech businesses to work together and solve existing and emerging problems through research and development. And this is supported by some of the best minds in the industry and Scottish universities. And just to say, our students will be at the forefront of that involvement. So we're very, very pleased to be able to offer this for students joining us in September or in a couple of months' time. The new 5G Innovation Hub for Scotland is to be located in Dundee, and we're currently being set up as the next 5G city. So this is in partnership with Abertay. So we actually have a 5G testbed hub in on our campus for all new games and innovation research as well. So this will also focus a lot on our research and development of new technologies, and also in cybersecurity practices. You can imagine the internet plays a key part in many of our research and master's topics that we've discussed today. So very, very important there. And an esports arena, this is something that we are so incredibly excited about. So recent plans have been unveiled for a new 4,000 capacity arena to be built in Dundee waterfront. So actually just to the left of the V&A from the view that you can see here, it will just be off to the left, incorporating an esports arena, education and working space for related companies, and ultimately a way for Abertay to be even more immersed in what's going on in Dundee. So Abertay will be involved as a partner in the project, and we intend to develop a range of new esport degree courses and take advantage of the on-site facilities at the arena. So really, really excited about that. And just to talk a little bit about Dundee itself, so just to tell you where we are. So we are in Scotland, as I mentioned, and we're on the east coast, right in the middle, really. And you can see that we're based on the River Tay. So this is just a zoom out picture, just to show you that it's a big river. To cross it, you can cross the river, the Tay Bridge, the Tay Rail Bridge, and the Tay Road Bridge. You can walk over the road bridge. It's beautiful, if a little bit noisy and windy on some winter's days. We have the population of Dundee is around 150,000 people. We have 2 universities, we have 2 colleges and a number of high schools. So it is a very student-centered city. There's lots going on for students, a huge amount of activities and sports and celebrations, along with the nightlife and also various other creative industry projects that are going on as well for you to be involved in. We're roughly 1 hour to 1.5 hours to the other 3 prominent cities in Scotland, which is Glasgow, Edinburgh and Aberdeen. And we're roughly a 1.5 hour flight to London. So by train, it's 6 hours, but we're not anywhere near London, but it's very easy to get there for a weekend away. So I'll pass you back to Emma there.
Thanks, Finn. And yes, to echo that, I'm from London originally, and I've just been down there this weekend and last weekend. It's very easy to travel between the two with frequent flights from Edinburgh down, and also you're able to fly from Dundee's domestic airport down to London too. So if you are joining us and flying over to the UK, you can often fly direct into London and then transfer flight up to Edinburgh, and there's a direct coach service from Edinburgh Airport to Dundee City Centre, which is great for students and myself. I was on that last night. And there's also opportunities if you're flying through certain hubs within Europe, you can fly from there direct into Edinburgh Airport and then again get that transfer up. So really is accessible. And even the 6 hour train down from Dundee to London, I really enjoy that. I usually do take that, so is worthwhile. So to finish off, just to talk a little bit about some of the student experience and student life before we go and move on to any questions. We have a couple of different options of accommodation for students called Caylor Court and Parker House. Both of these are within, I'd say, less than a 10-minute walk from our campus. So Parker House, you can see in the middle, I'd say is probably less than 5 minutes if you're a fairly fast walker. There's an underpass under the main road from there to the university. Caylor Court is not much further away. And as we've mentioned, Dundee's a really affordable city to live in. It's well known for being somewhere that's budget friendly for students. So it certainly is a lot cheaper than the likes of London, Edinburgh, and some of the other more expensive cities of the UK. And I've certainly found that moving up here, even not as a student, you get a lot more for your money, and it's as I say, budget friendly for everyone. We do offer a guarantee on accommodation for students who make sure they get their applications in time, and that deadline is usually the 1st of August. And the application system usually goes live within sort of late spring. So this is usually around the end of May or the start of June for applicants, and everyone will get notified of this when that opens and they can start putting in their applications. And finally, I just wanted to talk a bit about some of our students and some of the kind of extra activities that we have, particularly around the area of technology that involves both our undergraduate and our postgraduate students. So we have the DARE Academy is something we are very well known for, and I know that it's won awards as a initiative for students to be involved with. So this takes place usually every summer. We skipped one I think in 2020 or 2021 because of the pandemic, but typically has been running, and it is running this year as well, where we invite teams of students to propose or pitch an idea for a game. 6 teams are shortlisted, and they spend a month working in the summer on their game as a team. They get support from industry, they get a budget to work with, and they bring this up to a prototype, like polished prototype standard. And in a normal year, they get to showcase this at EGX, which is the biggest games expo in the UK, which usually takes place in London or in Birmingham. More recently, as you can see from the photos here, we've been showcasing this within the V&A Museum last year. So students were able to do that, but it's an amazing opportunity for our students to be able to showcase a game that they've made to industry experts and professionals, network, looking for jobs and contacts and those kinds of things. And there's a judging panel who announce a winner, and the prize is usually very generous. Sometimes it's a cash prize with support of equipment, mentoring, that kind of thing for the team. One year we took part of the prize was taking the group out to the game design conference in San Diego. So it varies from year to year, but it's always a really, really significant prize for them. On the right-hand side there, we've got Securite, which is the largest student-run information security conference that's run by our students from Abertay Hackers, which is the Student Society of Ethical Hacking, which is open to any students who are interested. Again, it brings in a lot of industry. We get an exhibition, we have guest speakers, and allow students to make those connections, again, looking at, I guess, for jobs and things like that. And the bottom left picture is one of our students. This is something I was referring to earlier, where our students aren't just creating your typical car racing games. There's a whole range of things they're doing. So this was a game produced by Conglomerate Games, which is an Abertay student-led company, and they specialize in developing healthcare-focused games to improve lives. So the game here that you can see was created to support children with cystic fibrosis to practice their airway clearance techniques, and it was being used within a clinical trial to monitor the effect it has on patients' development. The company who created this as well won the top prize of £30,000 at the 2020 Santander University's Entrepreneurship Awards. So our students are, fantastic high achievers. They come up with these creative ideas. And there's a whole scope within games, cybersecurity, hacking, and computing for them to get involved with, both in the classroom and outside. But thank you so much for watching the webinar today. We've got a few minutes left that we can get on any questions. I don't think I've seen any in the Zoom chat just yet, but if we've had any come in from YouTube, then we'll be more than happy to answer. You can see our contact details here, so you're welcome to contact myself or Finn directly, or you can also contact our international team as a whole. We all check that inbox as well if you do have any questions, but we can do our best to answer anything subject specific, but if not, we can always get back to you at a later point. And as I say, please do get in touch with us. We're more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Emma and Finn. Thank you so much. I have 2 questions from student direct to me. The first question is if the student want to apply to study master degree about AI course, do they need to have any work experience to apply?
There's no work experience required for any of our programs. So as I mentioned, the AI and UX course, they just need a background in like an undergraduate degree in a science or a technical discipline. And the scripting experience that I refer to is not work experience. It's having kind of that there's different sort of online opportunities, courses that they could take in that area. So I would encourage the student, get in touch with us, and we can always put you directly in contact with the academic if you're not sure whether you have that right kind of experience, and they can recommend what you can do to get that.
Okay, so what about another question is what about when the deadline for booking student accommodation?
So as I mentioned, the 1st of August is the deadline for guaranteed accommodation. There may be availability after that, but we'd encourage students to just apply during the spring. So as I said, there's that initial deadline of the 1st of August for the guarantee, and that's for students who are starting in the September. If you're doing a January start, obviously it works on a slightly different system. So we look at those inquiries individually in terms of students that require that accommodation, but also provide alternative recommendations and options. But 1st of August would be, the absolute. But we, as I said, we encourage you to apply before that, as soon as they open in end of May, beginning of June.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, the last question is, what about UX UI course? Do you need the portfolio to apply this course?
No, so the only program that we look for the portfolio in at postgraduate level is the professional masters in games development. So for the MSc AI and UX, no portfolio, just the academic background, obviously a desire to want to work within or to study within AI, UX, those psychology principles that Finn was talking about, that combined kind of program. So you'll have to write a sort of all of the programs, students will need to write a personal statement, so essentially a letter of motivation describing why they want to apply for that course specifically, why they feel they are a good fit for that program, but there's no additional portfolio required for that program.
Okay, thank you so much for your answering. I think that's all of the questions from the student now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks very much, everyone, for attending today. As I said, get in touch if you have any questions for us.
Okay, thank you so much. ขอบคุณน้องๆทุกคนนะคะที่เข้ามาร่วมสัมมนาครั้งนี้นะคะถ้ายังไงก็ถ้าสนใจเรียนต่อติดต่อพี่ๆ SIUK ได้เลยนะคะ Thank you again. So goodbye. Have a nice day.
Hello, Nikki, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Nikki, we have questions on the YouTube chat box.
Yeah. Is this on the presentation already?
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the Q&A session over? Hello, Nikki?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay. So Emma and Finn, thank you so much for your valuable time. Also, I would request you, if you have anything for the students who are watching us live right now, do you have any final words for them?
No, I think we covered that all at the end there. Just hopefully this has given you a good idea of our expertise in technology and those kinds of programs. And if you have any questions or if you're looking to apply, obviously you can contact us directly. Also, get in touch with SIUK and they can support you from Thailand with applying and those kinds of things, and get in touch with us on your behalf. So just thanks very much for attending.
Thank you so much for your valuable words. To all the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact SIUK Thailand offices. We'll be more than happy to help you. So bye-bye, take care.